Hello and welcome to episode 1 of the Like, Click and Share podcast, where we discuss the latest big topics in marketing and how they can help you build a business, whether you're a freelancer, business owner, or just interested in how marketing can help you. I'm the host. My name is Darren Winter. I own my own marketing business, Duco Digital, and also I make electronic music as well. So I'm trying to promote that at the moment. And I've got loads of other kind of hobbies that I'll kind of do on the side of the internet. So you'll hear about these over the course of the up and coming podcasts. And we've got a little team of people on the podcast today. We've got Emma and we've got Gemma. Morning or afternoon, I should say.
Afternoon.
Hello, everybody. Hi. How you doing?
Okay, kick off with Emma.
I'm Emma Kraus. I am the owner and director of Light Up North. We make illuminated lights, mostly for the interiors market. However, I'm also very interested and quite passionate about how small businesses such as mine can use social media and digital marketing to really support the tools that they already have and to help small businesses grow with this kind of knowledge.
Brilliant. How about you, Gemma?
I'm Gemma Walton, and I work with small businesses on their digital marketing strategy to help them improve their online presence, to help them grow, to help them be found online. I'm quite interested in traveling, but obviously we can't do very much of that at the moment. So I'm looking forward to the 21st of June, fingers crossed.
Oh, great stuff. It's great to have you both. And we hope you really love this podcast because we're going to try and break down some of the myths of digital marketing. Some people think it's a bit of a dark art, and we all believe there's no such thing as that. So we all run our businesses or we help businesses. So hopefully you're going to find the information over the up and coming podcast really helpful. We're going to throw in some facts and hopefully some practical tips that you can take away, you can actually try out in your own business, or you might kind of want to have something you might want to share or share an opinion, or might even want to come on the podcast as a guest and talk about something you think is really important that we should know as business owners, or anybody working in freelancers, or anybody kind of thinking about starting up a business. So if that's you and you'd like to appear on up and coming podcast, you can follow us on Twitter at Duco Digital, so DUCO Digital. Follow us on Twitter there. You can also find us on LinkedIn and Facebook as well, but Twitter is where we kind of normally hang out. So it'd be great to hear from you. So today's topic then is a really great one. We're going to start off with TikTok. And it's a great topic because I think we've all got different experiences on the podcast, and something you'll get to learn over the up and coming episodes, that even though there is best practice, as individuals, we've all got our likes and our kind of personal favorites. We've also got our areas of digital marketing or our own channels that, the things that we like and things that we don't really like, or things that just don't appeal to us. And TikTok, I think, is a Marmite social channel. You either love it or you hate it. And I think there's different things you can get out for it. So whether it's great for business, if we're going to talk about that today, whether you think it's good for marketers, is it just great for entertainment? Obviously, there's some spectacular growth there as well. Gemma, this was really your topic that you kind of picked a few weeks ago, and you've done some interesting research about TikTok, haven't you?
Yeah, I have to be honest, at the moment it is my favourite channel. I can actually get lost in watching TikTok videos. I'm at the point now where I have to say to myself, right, it's 2:00, I'm going to go on there now, but I must come off by 2:30 because otherwise it's like, it could be 5:00 or 6:00. I find that once I start scrolling, then I just keep going and going and going. I think it's a great channel. So just some facts at the moment. Icon Square blog did a post on TikTok in January 2021, and TikTok currently has over 700 million active users.
Wow.
It's the 7th most used social media platform in the world, and there's an analytics company called App Annie who reckon that by the end of 2021 that the number of active users will have pretty much doubled to 1.2 billion. So it's a huge potential audience for you.
So why do you like it so much?
I like the fact that it gives businesses and brands the chance to show other people, their customer, other businesses, their clients, like who they really are. So it gives them the chance, it gives you the chance to show people behind the scenes, what you do, so people can get a real understanding of you as a person, your business, like cause and values. And I think more so now with social media, it is that age-old saying of people buy off people, and people want to see Emma behind the scenes at Light Up North, making a illuminated art. They want to see Darren at Dougal. What does he look like? What's his personality like? And I think it's the real chance for businesses to have a personality in a different kind of way. I mean, you don't necessarily have to jump on all the latest trends. You can do them in a different kind of way. But I do think it's a different channel, and it's the chance to do something differently that's a bit more fun, that you might not necessarily, well, that you probably won't do on like the likes of LinkedIn, you know. So it's the video content at the minute is the way forward. It's what everybody's doing. The short form videos, they're becoming more and more popular. They're the things that all social channels are putting at the forefront of people's feeds and showing you. And I don't know, I just think this is a real chance for businesses to get their personality across, to engage with customers and potential clients.
So do you as an individual, do you consume more of the content, or do you create content as well?
I'm not on there. I haven't got a profile on there. I'm thinking about it, but it's that, I think it's that, do I do it? Do I not? But I love watching all the videos and seeing the latest trends and stuff. I am working with a business at the moment. Shout out to Jill from Organic Pilates, who is doing TikTok videos on there, and who gets a huge number of views, and who she also does something similar on Instagram as well. But again, it's the chance for people to see her personality, how she teaches, to get her like brand across. And I do think that you do, like, there are people on the channel that you'll think, oh, I'm going to look at their channel, I'm going to go to their channel, I'm going to have a look and see what they're doing. So I think it's probably one of the biggest things that businesses can embrace at the minute, and it's quite easy to go viral on there if you use one of the trends, or you use one of the trending sounds, or you do like what's called a stitch, or like a duet with another business or somebody famous. So there's you're not paying for that, you know. So it's a great way to build your brand and engage with businesses and other clients.
And what about you, Emma? Have you got a profile on TikTok? Do you use it?
No, my children would die if I was to go. My teenage children would burn the house down, I think, if I started to try and be on TikTok. But I do really love it. And I think you cannot deny the growth, which has definitely been supported by the pandemic and the lockdown and everyone being phones much more. And definitely that. But also, though, the pandemic and COVID really sent us all looking for authentic, feel good, positive kind of vibes. And there is a lot of that to be found on TikTok. And it's not got the kind of political chat that comes with things like Facebook and Twitter. So it's a very positive platform. And that's why the teenagers like it. It's fast and it's, you know, it's upbeat and feels good. And that's what I think people have been searching for in 2020. And 2021 will continue, obviously, with that. And I think that TikTok is the kingmaker of social media platforms. It's where so many trends start, things that you wouldn't expect, and more so than other social media platforms, you can see that blur and blend into other platforms. So a lot of what happens on TikTok comes over to Instagram. And that would, I would say, where my experience of TikToks has been, watching things that people are then redoing in Instagram. So that's quite an interesting way for businesses to really consider evergreen content, which is something that I'm really passionate about. If you are a small business and resources and time are limited, you want to make one video, and you you can use that so much more, and it will be there and it'll exist on TikTok for such a longer lifetime and serve you better than it will do on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, where it will go very quickly. So I really, really believe in that for it. But I really, just to give you a quick example, there was a guy, and how my teenagers hate me for it. So there was this guy called Nathan Evans, and he is a postman from Scotland, was a postman from Scotland. And he did a TikTok of a sea shanty in lockdown. And it's really, he's got a lovely voice, and it's really, you know, but it's not cool. Or it wasn't cool then. Radio 1 picks up on it. And this TikTok video became viral. And everybody was talking about it. I was telling my kids about it. They were telling me to get lost. It was awful. What do you know? And then he got signed by Polydor Records, and he got to give up his job as a postman, and now he's UK #1. And so TikTok changes lives.
I agree.
It really does. It really does. And if you're able to use the trends, and if you're able to coast on the sea shanty things, or I saw, Gemma, you did a thing today on the back of the Evergreen boat in the Suez Canal.
Yeah, I shared a post for some.
So,
Yeah,
so
I shared a post
if
for
you're able to
start a business.
If you're able to be responsive and coast on these trends that TikTok are creating, then it could serve your small business very well, very cheaply, like Gemma said, and very small businesses have the ability to be agile and lean, and so TikTok is so perfect for them to do that.
See, my feelings are so different to, well, my opinion is so
You don't
different
like it,
to you.
do you?
No, I don't really. I just think, like, nowadays, I think we all agree that there's so many different social media channels out there, and if you're really struggling with time, managing even some time in one very well, it's actually really time consuming. So things like Twitter, it can be, is it much harder now to get a following than it was maybe sort of 5 or 6 years ago. Facebook is near impossible now to get organic growth without really sort of spending a lot of time with groups, or kind of spending money on kind of advertising to get some traction going, or being extremely having something quite unique. I think is also another kind of strong point for Facebook. And then when Instagram, I think Instagram kind of goes hot and cold. I think depending on kind of what's happening with the algorithm, sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's a bit more challenging, depending on which time of the year it is. And I think, well, you know, you've got LinkedIn, which obviously more kind of professional network. And it's like, well, is there room for any more? And there's only so much time that we've all got to consume the content, look at the content. And then on the other side, it's like, well, actually, who is TikTok for? And in my head, actually, that TikTok is for a much more younger demographic. And I honestly don't understand why businesses are spending their time. I think I can understand bigger brands, like global brands, Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, you know, those, Apple, those types of much bigger brands, because they've got money, they've got resources, and therefore they've got a much more wider range of demographics. Rather than just maybe for a smaller business, you might just have one or two that are really focusing on trying to get in. I'm not too sure, like with TikTok is a great way forward, but do you both I take it you both disagree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think another stat that I was reading last week, it was that over 67% of people who use TikTok are over the age of 21. And I think it's been great for small businesses that might not necessarily know that much about social media or how to use it, but might use this in their everyday life. And you don't have to be, the videos that you create don't necessarily have to have you in them. You know, that you can, a lot of small businesses, like there are some people on there who are like sweet shops that I follow, and I watch the videos of, and they do stuff behind the scenes. So people will send them a message about, my order number is such and such. Can you show me you packing the order? And should the person be like, yeah, I'm doing order number such and such for such and such. Here I am packing your order, and they tell you what they're putting in the box, and things like that work really, really well. There's so many different types of videos that people engage with. You know, you're not necessarily jumping on the trend where you're doing that particular dance to that particular song, you know, in the hope that somebody famous will duet it with you or stitch it with you. There's so many other things that you can do, and you can use those videos that you create on TikTok, you can use them on other platforms. So you can post them to reels on Instagram, you can post them on Facebook when they're ready. And I don't know, I think now, I think people are interested in knowing what kind of personality does that brand have. And I think people do, I mean, people do want to watch, and the number of people watching and who'll follow somebody. There's a profile that I usually pops up in my feed, and it's a girl over in America who's got a sister who's 14 that's got Down syndrome, and she uses that channel really, really positively. They're always doing things together, she's raising awareness. But I've watched her like followers jump from, I think last week or the week before, something like 600,000 followers, and she's on like 850 or 860,000 now, and every day she gains like 3,000 or 4,000 followers. You know, it's a huge audience. You know, it's not just people that are on there. There are so many more businesses and small businesses that are on there and who are using it really, really cleverly. And it's free. You can use it from your phone. You're not waiting for somebody to film the video for you. You know, you can say what you want. You can do it in your way. And I think that's what's really important for brands now. It's being able to do that, not necessarily having like strict, rigid brand guidelines that you adhere to. You know, it's giving that brand and that business a personality. So I would totally disagree with you, Darren.
I think it's interesting though, because you kind of touch on two things there, and for me is that you've got the you talked about like branding guidelines, and I think it is for serious marketers, it is a bit of a problem, isn't it? Because if you're trying to enter a new channel with maybe a different audience type, are you having to adapt your brand? Are you having to make your tone of voice much more flexible to suit that platform, or otherwise you're just going to stand out? It's going to be kind of a bit like, it kind of feels not very fluid. It's almost, I suppose I can liken it to dressing up in a like a bowler hat and a really formal suit, but then walking into an 80s disco. It's like just going to stand out like something really crazy, because it kind of comes across quite stilted, because you're not kind of, if you've got a brand which is much perhaps more traditional, maybe say, I'm not going to say a brand, but say if it's like a mature car brand, and then that particular brand of car is quite successful, maybe on Facebook, maybe on sort of Twitter, and just generally on sort of TV adverts and the like. But that brand, because it's a mature brand, might not necessarily suit TikTok. So it's a real problem, I see it, for the marketer or the marketing team, or even just for the whole of the business, to understand how they can make that brand more flexible to be received positively on that channel. Otherwise they just feel like they're a bit of a fish out of water, if that makes sense.
One of the big trends that happened, I would say, about October time was a recipe for baking feta. So not trendy or teenage or cool or anything, like, not for the kids, but there was this baked feta recipe that went viral, that went mad, and everyone was making it and everyone was looking forward to it, and it was literally baked tomatoes, feta, put it in the oven, stir it, put it on your pasta, and this went massive, worldwide, global. So they were able, I don't think it was even a company. I think it was someone just did it and made it for their tea and then put it on. But then I must have seen 30 Instagram accounts making this baked feta, and this but that it's not just for the kids. It's not just silly, trendy little dances in the garden. It's not that. Although there is a massive part of that, because I really believe it's that positivity that people are looking for. There's the same parameters of any social media. My daughter did come to tell me that she'd heard on TikTok that lockdown was ending on the 30th of February.
Awesome.
I had to say, it's the same as any social media platform. You have to check the reality and the truth in lots of some of those things. I wouldn't like them to be using it as a news feed, but it is true. Layla and I spent yesterday afternoon cutting out black blobs of card to stick on an IKEA wardrobe from an IKEA hack that she had seen on TikTok. And again, just some girl in her bedroom had done this with these cards to do it, and it looks great. And so there is real bleed over from other things, but it's not just for kids. Maybe you've got to get down for the kids, but it is.
I think why would you think that car brand wouldn't work on Twitter though? Because I feel like the rules for what you do and what you share on TikTok and how you put your message out there, really there are no rules, and I think that's the beauty of it. As long as you're not breaching the Twitter guidelines around which are the same for like the majority of social media channels, you know, about the types of content that you post, which obviously I won't go into, but I think there are no rules. I mean, there are people on there that do like sell cars, or there's a guy who will get in a car and just show you different parts of it, how it works. There are other ones that will just fly along the road and you're listening to the sound of the engine. I think the beauty of it is that there almost like isn't any cap on what you can do with it, you know, or what you say or how you come across. And I guess it's just finding out like that niche and what works for you. But I mean, there were so many different, there were things like obviously Emma mentioned there about the feta. There's loads of recipes and stuff. There's things on there that you wouldn't think people would be interested in that you are. And I think it's an opportunity for all businesses, regardless of their age or how like stuffy they are or have been, and you know, that's the beauty of it. Almost like there are no rules. You can do, the possibilities are endless, I think, with it, and how it develops and how you run with it. You know, there's almost like no limitations.
And
so I suppose
sorry.
No, go for it.
Well, as a business owner, if you see that the growth and the use of that platform is undeniable, and so you've got to find your way to get a slice of that. You can't say, "Oh, it's not for me." It is for you, because that's where your customers are. There are people consuming huge. That's a huge market. You can't say it's not for you. So you've got to find a way to talk to those people. That's your job as the creator, not their job as the customer. We have to make it work for them.
I think that's an interesting point, isn't it? I suppose going back to what I was explaining about maybe rules and that, and I suppose those rules are governed by an individual's business, because obviously you mentioned before, Gemma, the kind of brand guidelines and the way that we speak and everything in the marketing world, everything's like written out to a T exactly, in terms of like the colors, the logo, the fonts, the size, whether it's bold, italic, all that type of stuff. There's so much work. People don't realize, certainly in advertising, how much consideration goes into positioning and the type of imagery and when things are going out, all those types of things that we've gotten to know, I suppose, as business owners ourselves over the last 10 years. So we can create our own content now very, very quickly. Within 5 or 6 minutes, we can create a post in Canva, get it scheduled and posted through Later or Hootsuite. And then like within a few minutes, then we can be seeing, in real time, how many people clicking on it, where they're coming from, all that type of stuff, which is amazing. You can see how fast technology's taken us. Sort of going back 10, 15 years, most of that wasn't even possible. It was literally having to do all that natively. So I suppose the rules we've kind of, as the larger brands have created those rule books for themselves, this is how they want to be perceived. But then what I'm understanding from TikTok, it is different in the fact that it's about transparency and being about kind of like honest, in inverted commas, digital marketing, or honest kind of insights about how things are. And I definitely I love the whole thing about kind of, I suppose, having a personality about your business, because I think it does make it more accessible. I think that's really important, because it gives some clues and insights into really who what that what that brand is as a person and its intended audience and how things should be used. I suppose it builds upon a lot of the YouTube and Instagrammers, you know, where they kind of get the freebies and then they show what they can do with it, and inspires and motivates us all to do more things. So I suppose that the other issue is kind of just for the time and cost element and return on investment. Is that, you know, sometimes creating videos and stuff is not a quick thing to do, and also it's like, is it the place to be for you know, micro and small business owners? I'm not too sure. I still don't feel it is. I think it may well be if you've got maybe like a fun and entertaining service, but I'm not too sure if that's the place you should be to get. If you could only pick one or two platforms, would TikTok be one of those first two? Would that be one of your go-to things? That's a good question. I'll let you answer it.
Well, it would depend, wouldn't it, of who your audience is and what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But there was a girl, I meant to look it up before we came on. There was a girl from Darlington, and I saw a story, a young schoolgirl in the Gazette, which is our local newspaper for all our global listeners. So she was a schoolgirl, and she had started selling fidget spinners, you know, and fidget toys, just for fun and not a big deal. And her mum said she'd help her during when they were homeschooling lockdown. And she was selling like 6 a day, and then started making TikTok videos. And then her orders were going up to 70, 100 times orders a day. And they'd have to convert their country in their house into like a stockroom for all the, wow. This is in Darlington, and this is just a young girl. She had to go back to school, and her mum's left selling fidget spinners. Like, they all had to go back to work, and they're all trying to cope with this conservatory full of soft toys now. But that was just through the growth of using TikTok, and she did that. And that TikTok, again, my point about it being a kingmaker, had turned this little girl into a successful entrepreneur by making little videos on her phone.
Yeah, I've just done some lunchtime, I guess, lunch and learn type sessions with like TikTok Direct. I saw something shared on LinkedIn, and I thought, I didn't make all of them, but it was on every day last week, and I made some of them. You can actually sell on the platform as well. So they're partnered with Shopify. So you can directly sell your products on there, and obviously with the fact that you can link to certain things, you can almost create your own ads free of charge. You can pay for ads on there if you want to, and you don't have to have a TikTok account to pay for ads on the channel. You can just have an ad account and put your ads out there. But because of the partnership with Shopify, with Shopify, obviously you can sell directly, and I would guess that over time you'll be able to use other shopping channels in the future where you can link to and sell. So I mean, there are many things that you can do as a small business owner, and I think if you've got something that people want, like I know a lot of these like online sweet shops or your brand, Emma, you know, things like that, selling directly on there, with the amount of like active users on there and the number of people that you can have like following you, engaging with you, you know. And if you get somebody who's like a TikTok influencer, for want of a better word, or somebody famous or a big brand that does a duet or a stitch with you, then obviously the reach and the engagement that you can get as a result of that, you couldn't get on any other channel, even if you paid for ads on that channel, you know. So I think it's a great way, and I think it's at the start of the journey, you know. It's only been around for a few years as TikTok. Yeah. You know, and for businesses using it, so it's the chance to jump on and do things like right at the start of your business journey, and of, I guess, TikTok's journey as well.
I think it'd be great. We're coming to the last couple of minutes now of the podcast, but I think it'd be great. I think we'll have to try a little experiment this year, and we'll try it across you know, the same ad or the same post across different platforms, same time, same day, and let's see what happens. I think it's kind of proof is in the pudding, as they say, isn't it? So it's all like you said about the results. I hope you really enjoyed that chat. I think it was great. I think there's some great insights and some great tips there as well about kind of like getting the most out of TikTok as well. So we touched on a few things there. We've all got a little fact to share. So my first fact's about digital marketing, and it kind of follows on from the video side. So that 82% of consumer internet traffic is going to be video based by the end of 2021. So that's an amazing statistic. So what about you, Gemma? What's your amazing fact?
My amazing fact is 82% of consumers would rather watch a live video than read a blog post.
Wow. So again, video based there as well. So we get the message across that video is really where it's at this year. What about you, Emma?
So in the first quarter of 2020, and we will have expected it to increase as people got more lockdown, there were 315 million TikTok downloads worldwide. So that's the highest amount of downloads for an app ever. So
yeah, I've seen that.
Your small business needs to have a bite of that pie, I think.
So if you're sitting on the fence about TikTok, then maybe just give it a go. I think it's from me. Then maybe kind of like have low expectations, see what you get back.
And the most important thing to remember is don't be the fear of doing it, because if no one's seen it, no one's seen it, and no one knows you ever did it. So it doesn't matter. So just give it a go, because it might work.
Yeah, I think I definitely get that. I think that if you're just thinking about whether you should do it or not, just do it, because you just never know. And what works for one person is not necessarily the same for everybody else. There is no one size fits all approach here. It really is down to how you do it as an individual. And I definitely truly believe that. And you can be able to get things out of that platform that other people can't. And that's what people are looking for, is unique content. So thank you so much to Gemma and Emma for joining us on our first episode of the Like, Click and Share podcast. I hope you really enjoyed it. We've got some great topics coming up. The next episode is we're going to be talking about who's who. So who do you promote on social media and why? And what do they do for you? So probably can talk a bit about influencer marketing there, but also probably a bit more deeply about kind of like exactly who you should be promoting. How do you get influencers? I don't think it's that easy to do. People will hear about it. There's a few grey areas like ethically and legally now. So we're going to touch on a few of those subjects next time around. So do look out for the next episode. Please subscribe. It really helps us. If you could just leave a review as well, or share it with other people. And again, if you do want to get in contact with us, just follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Follow us at Duco Digital, so DUCO Digital. And hopefully you'll tune to the next one. And it'd be great to hear from you soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.